guys! If you're new here, welcome. My name is Lily. I am an anxious girl who loves to read, and if you're not new here, welcome back. I'm glad you came back. And these are completed series that you need to put on your TBR if you have not read them already. I thought that we'd jump immediately into a throwback 2010 fantasy obsession of mine. And that is the Infernal Devices. I know you've probably heard of the Mortal Instruments, you may even have seen the movie or the TV series. This is like 100 times better than the Mortal Instruments. I know, like, I've seen on BookTok a lot recently that people are like, bring back yearning, give me male love interests who yearn. This is it. Like, this has such a level of yearning that there's no book boyfriend that can compare. This is an amazing love triangle, it's kind of a love triangle, but at the same time it is a love triangle, but I don't like to call it a love triangle because people don't generally like love triangles, but this is love triangles at its finest. And so this is about Tessa. Tessa has come to England, to London from the US to live with her brother who has moved there. She shows up and she is immediately picked up in a carriage because this is like in the 1800s. So Tessa Gray arrives in London during the reign of Queen Victoria. She is picked up by some kind of odd ladies in a carriage, older ladies, and then she's locked up and they start preparing her for her wedding day that she has no idea about, and her brother is nowhere to be found, she doesn't know where he is, and so on. And then the day that she decides to break out, suddenly someone is breaking in, and that is when Tessa Gray meets Will Herondale and Jem Carstairs. I think that's his name, right? I'm pretty sure. So it turns out that Tessa's brother has been caught up in London's downworld, which is full of demons and other magical creatures. And Will Herondale and Jem Carstairs are paramours. Not paramours. Maybe they're not called paramours. They're like brothers bonded by magic. And the two of them are shadow hunters. So they hunt demons and they protect the like normal people from the downworld that the normal people don't know about. And Tessa, it turns out, has some abilities. She is not entirely normal, and so the shadow hunters, with Tessa's help, start searching for her brother and uncover a whole like scheme that's going on that they need to stop. And so you can already guess who the love triangle is about. This is so well written, it has such a good plot, the world, like the creativeness, but the love triangle, like Will Herondale will forever be in my heart. I am grieving that he's not real. Like, if I could bring a book boyfriend to life, it would probably be Will Herondale. And not only are these books like adventurous, amazing, well written, just captivating, they're hilarious. Like, I rarely laugh out loud so much as I do when I read these, and I've like reread them 3 times. They are so good. So if you haven't read these already, put them on your TBR. I know that they're a throwback, they're old school, but you need to read them if you haven't. Okay, so we are going to make quite a big leap from the YA fantasy romance that I just showed you and onto a like paranormal urban fantasy that also happens to be a reverse harem, and that is the Bonds That Tie series. There are 6 books in this series in total. I only own 5. It's the 3rd book that I don't own because I read that as an ebook. But these are my ladies. These are my babies. So that was the last one. Starting in the wrong end. Starting with Broken Bonds. The first book is Broken Bonds. Let's just take a minute for these covers. They are stunning. And I know that this is a reverse harem, but it is a reverse RM that's also a slow burn, and it is exquisite. So we read this from the perspective of Oleander. Oleander, who when she was like kid or teenager, ran from the hospital after her and her mother and her fathers, yes, multiple fathers, were in a car accident. The only one who survived was Oleander, and she ran away from the hospital and disappeared. Now, this book is starting when Oleander has been found by her bonded, because when in this world, if you are not a normal human person, then you have powers. There's a system where you are bonded, like the magic chooses who you're bonded to, but there is a test when you as a child can take the test and find out who your bonded will be when you are an adult. And so Oleander, when she was a kid, found out that she was going to be bonded to some of the most powerful men in this paranormal world. She ran away from like the most powerful people that exist. They find her, and they are pissed. They are so angry, they don't understand why she would flee from her bonded, because no one does. She is the central in their bond, so in every bonded group there is a central that like everyone is connected to, and then that makes them the central line. So Oleander is the center of this bonded group of 6. So there are 5 men and Oleander. Oleander comes back. So when Oleander comes back, North Draven, who is also like a councilman in their world, there's a bit of an age gap, which I don't mind because they are all adults. Oleander is thrown into school by him because she hasn't been in school for, years since she ran away. And we quite quickly figure out that Oleander is keeping secrets. She is pretending that she don't have any abilities in this world. And people are flabbergasted that not only did this young child run away from her bonds, but she is also powerless and bonded to some of the most powerful people. Oleander didn't run away from her bonds, she ran away from something else, but the question is what? This is so good. The plot, the world building, the powers. I have never, like in all my fantasy reading life, have never read a world with a magic system like this, or with powers like these. These books have some of the coolest abilities ever. Madison Kate was dead. She is not. She was never dead. This is the Madison Kate series. This is a reverse RM set in our world, but it's kind of more towards dark romance. And it's about Madison Kate, who was set up for a string of offences that she never committed, but her politically minded father made an example out of her and she was sent away. She is now back in her hometown, and she shows up to her house, realises that her father is not there, but 3 strangers are. And these are 3 guys, one of whose mother has now married Madison Kate's father. Madison Kate is pissed. She's not happy because she recognizes these men from the night that she was set up, and she suspects that they are the ones who have done it. They also happen to be involved in some like gang war type thing. They are not a part of like any gang, but they are in that world, but they're like their own little trio. Turns out this is not the only like problem in Madison Kate's life. She also happens to have a stalker who keeps sending her gifts and dolls with her very recognizable pink hair, dolls that he have like tormented and then sent them to her. So it goes from enemy, kind of like enemies, I hate you, why are you in my house, love, to we need to work together because someone is going after Madison Kate. There's a lot of tension between all of these 3 guys and Madison. I know that the covers are not the prettiest, but they are, they have released discreet covers that you can get if you want, so you don't have to get these original covers, because now, when I bought them, the discreet covers didn't exist, but now they do. What shadow is that? Is that the microphone? Yeah, that's inappropriate. An inappropriately placed shadow. I hope I didn't have like the shadow in the shape of something like that in my face this entire time. Anyway, since I explained this quite poorly, I am going to read the blurb. So, Madison Kate Danvers was murdered tonight. Those words changed my life. They were wrong, of course. I'm not dead, but I was set up. After being charged with a string of offences and made an example of by my politically minded father, I was eventually released back into Shadow Grove with one thing on my mind: hate. Archer Darth and his boys messed with the wrong chick, and they're about to learn just how cold Madison Kate's hate can run. I also forgot to mention, Archer happens to be like a boxer. So Archer and Steele, and I think his name is Gabe or something like that, I forget, but they train. Gabe is Archer's like personal trainer, and Steele is just along for the ride. We also have, this is a minor spoiler, so skip if you don't want to know anything about like the sex life, but one of the guys in one of the later books pierces his as a punishment for himself, because she was upset with him about something. So, you know, you've got that to look forward to if you pick that up. But this is a book that has exquisite tension, spice. The plot is really intriguing, and this had me on the edge of my seat. I was frightened throughout all of this, and I think I read all 4 books in like a week. I could not put these down. They are so good. I cannot even like express. So if you want something that has like spice and love, but also a good plot and intrigue, and, you know, keeps you hooked, this is definitely for you. Now, for those of you who are not that big of fans for like darker romances or reverse harems, we're jumping to Abby Jimenez. Abby Jimenez's books are so good. They are so well written, they are so entertaining, they hit home emotionally, the love stories, like they have everything. I only own 2 of the physical copies from this specific series. They are interconnected books. So we start with Part of Your World, next is Yours Truly, which is my favorite, and then we have Just for the Summer. These are amazing if you want more grown-ups love stories, if that makes sense. These women are adults in these books, like they are fully educated, they have worked, they are doctors, so they have, you know, studied for a long time before they started working, so they're like, I think they're in their 30s, so it's more, it's not that like fast love, cute, young romance, it's more mature, and it also in that way is like less annoying, because the like younger love stories can be a bit annoying sometimes. So these are more like actual problems that occur between the like main characters and their love interests. Each book is better than the last. I would highly recommend, even though Yours Truly is my favorite, I would highly recommend reading Part of Your World first, because that is kind of what makes them so good, since you recognize characters and then have previous information and all of that. They made me feel so lonely and so goddamn single, but it was so worth it. It's so much more difficult to talk about romance books, because I don't want to tell you guys too much, because I don't want to spoil anything about like the romance and the relationships and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. So I'm just gonna leave that here. If you like Emily Henry, Ashley Poston, maybe even Mariana Zapata, Abby Jimenez is definitely for you. I would definitely give her books a try. They are so good. Like, I inhaled all of these. I think I read all of her books in like one sitting, max 36 hours. Like, it did not take me long to blow through all of these, because they had me hooked. They had me in a chokehold. Then we have one of my all-time favorite series that I have already raved about in a different video. And again, Sophia, you know who you are, Sophia's Library. She is also on YouTube. I'm gonna link her YouTube down below. She recommended me the best romance series that has ever been written. Like, if someone would have asked me 3 years ago, you know, Lily, would you ever read a like 25 book series that's only romance? I would have told you to fuck off. Like, there's the door. Get out. Never in my life could I see myself do that. And then Sophia convinced me to read the Addicted Callaway series. Oh my god, my life has never been the same since. Not a day goes by that I don't think about these books. They are I don't even have words. There are no words to explain them. I have never read a romance like these. We kicked the entire series off with Addicted to You, which is the first book in Lauren and Lily's love story. Lily Calloway is a sex addict, and she, together with her childhood best friend Lauren Hale, hides her addiction as well as his, because he also happens to have an addiction. He is an alcoholic, and together, by pretending to date, by fake dating in front of everyone, they live together on campus at Philadelphia's University, I think it is, and pretend that they're in a relationship to help each other hide their addictions from the ones they love and, you know, continue with their addictions. The way that this love story has consumed every nerve in my body, like, there are no couples in any book that can, like, overtake my love for Lily and Lauren, Connor and Rose, and Daisy and Reich. Lily, Rose, and Daisy are siblings. Rose is the second oldest. They have another sister that doesn't have her own books, but she is in these books, and her name is Poppy. So Poppy's the oldest, then it is Rose, then it is Lily, and then it's Daisy. There are some, you know, family issues in the Calloway family that has left Lily on her own quite a lot. Like, her mother has never cared for her that much, which are also, like, elements that we explore in this story that, like, gets to the bottom of everything. But when Lily's and Lauren's, at first it's Lauren's addiction that is uncovered, things starts to snowball, which leads to Lily's addiction being uncovered and also being made public information. Because what I failed to mention is that the Calloway daughter's father is the owner of a soda company, like, Module. So his soda company is, like, as big as, like, Coca-Cola, Sprite, Fanta, you know, it's that level. So when it turns out that this soda company's, like, CEO's daughter is a sex addict, it blows up across media. And you know how media treats women, and you can only imagine how media treats a woman who is a sex addict. Like, that is what sets this entire series off. And each of these sisters are so different to each other. They are similar in some ways because they are siblings, but just the dynamics between not just each sister and their love interest, but the sisters within themselves. And, you know, my favorite is Rose. She healed so much within me. I have Rose to thank for a lot, mainly my confidence within myself. I actually have a Kiss the Sky tattoo right here. This text says "Kiss the Sky," which is a quote from Connor. And if you want yearning and pining and male characters that get on their knees and worship their women like the goddesses they are, this is the series for you. Like, there are no better book boyfriends. And I know I said that about Will Herondale, but if anyone could top Will Herondale, it's like any man or woman from this series. I have never crushed on a man in this way before, and I have never had such a girl crush on the women. And, you know, you always, like, when you love a book boyfriend, I always, like, want to put myself with that book boyfriend. I don't want to do this here. I want them as the couples. I don't want anyone else, not even myself, with these men. I would never. I can't even fathom it in my imagination. These are the couples. They are meant to be. And you know those, like, videos where people are like, are these couples making it outside of the books? They are making it. They are being together until the day they die, and even after that. Like, they're lobsters. Lily's his lobster and Lauren's her lobster. They're meant to be forever, walking claw in claw for the rest of their lives. After you've taken my recommendation and has read the entire Addicted Calloway series, you are going to jump into the now finished, it was finished in 2024, the Like Us series, which is about the children of the main couples in the Addicted Calloway series. These are a lot of books in this series, I know, but you are going to be sad that there aren't more. So we kick the Like Us series off with Maximoff Hale. Maximoff Hale is a force of nature. He is headstrong, resilient, smart, funny. He is, kind of the leader of the Calloway children. Or he is one of them, together with Jane Cobalt. There is one rule: you do not date your bodyguard. These are the children of some of the most famous people in the world. Like, think Kardashian family famous, except that these are actually, good people. Extremely famous. Like, at lunch, a screaming mob of fans can show up and in a couple of hours your face is splattered all over the news. That level famous. But Maximoff has dealt with that in his entire life, and he can deal with it. He's very good at dealing with it. So when he is assigned a new 24/7 bodyguard, things start to go wrong, because this bodyguard happens to be 27-year-old Pharaoh Keane. So Pharaoh Keane is an MMA trained and medically trained bodyguard who happens to take up like 1/3 of Maximoff Hale's sexual fantasies. Maximoff, a guy who is always in control and who hates not being in control, has a difficult time with someone who is so reckless and out there and loves to break rules guy like Pharaoh Keane. So this is some really, really good tension. Pharaoh and Maximoff have a couple of books. I think they have 4 books in total that are about their love stories, and they are the ones who kick off the Like Us series. And then we go into Tangle Like Us, which is about Jane Cobalt and her love interest. And then we go into Charming Like Us, which is a bodyguard romance, but not with one of the famous kids, with someone else, but it is one of the bodyguards to a famous kid that is about. And then we go into Sullivan Meadows romance story, and after that we finished the entire series with Luna Hale's love story. And everyone has their own opinions on like who's their favorite. For me, it's another Cobalt that is my favorite, which is Jane Cobalt's books, but I love all of these books. Like, they are so good. And I have like, no one writes romance as well as Kristen Becker-Ritchie. And I know that it looks like a lot, I know that it is daunting, but it is so worth it. You will never be the same after having read these series. Like, nothing can compare. I promise you, you will not regret the decision to pick up these books. They are so good. This year, the first book in the Cobalt Empire series, which will be about all the Cobalt children except for Jane. I think it's all of them, at least all the Cobalt boys. And we are going to we're starting with Ben's romance, but eventually we will get my personal favorites, like the love of my life's romance story, which I am both excited for and dreading, because I do not want to see him with someone else. So I am just going to casually exchange his love interest name with my own, because Charlie Cobalt's my man, and no one can convince me otherwise. I said that in another video, but it's the greatest sorrow of my life, that the love of my life is not real. The only man I have ever truly loved does not exist. Let's take a silent minute to grieve the lack of existence of all of these book boyfriends, actually, because you know what I'm talking about. But the book girlies know. They know the pain. These are all the series that you need to put on your 2025 TBR, and like with the Addicted Calloway and Like Us series, start reading it now. Like, get going now, because then you can finish it by the time that the first book in the Cobalt series comes out. So highly recommend prioritizing that one, but I hope that there was something like a finished series in here for like all of you, just a little something for everyone. And that was really it for this video. I hope you have a nice day, a nice week, a nice month. Be kind to each other, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye. That gave me a heart attack. I almost dropped
my baby is that I hope I haven't had a dick-shaped shadow in my face by my mouth during this entire thing.